Baked banana and honey donuts with an almond butter glaze. They're inspired by my breakfast because I'm obsessed with having almond butter, banana and honey on toast. So first of all, I'm just going to take some ripe bananas and put them straight into a bowl. And then just take a fork, just mash it up until it's kind of like a smooth paste. So the mashed banana is going to add a lovely flavour to the cake batter. They also add moisture and sweetness. Then we're going to take an egg. We're going to get that nicely mixed in. Now we're going to get really nice honey, some nice light honey here so it's not going to overwhelm the flavour of the banana. I really like adding a bit of cinnamon, and I also like to add salt at this stage. Melt some butter. And as this is kind of like a muffin batter, you don't really need to sift in the flour, just to give it some lift. We're adding a teaspoon of baking powder as well. And then just fold that in. You don't want to over mix it, because if you mix it too much you start to develop the gluten and then it gets like heavy and a bit chewy. So next we can just put it straight into our baked donut tin we've got here. I've just greased it lightly with some spray oil. So you're just going to spoon it in. You don't want to overfill it, because if you overfill with these pans then it kind of rises over the dome bit in the middle and then it doesn't really look like a donut in the end. And then you can put this straight in the oven. So while the donuts are baking, we're just going to get on with the almond butter glaze. I've got 50 grams of unsalted butter here in the pan. So I just got some smooth almond butter right here. And because the butter's warm, it will melt the almond butter. You just need to grab a little bit more honey, because you're just going to make it kind of sweet. There's only a tablespoon of adding here, because we've already got some honey in the batter. And then this will just kind of thicken the glaze up too, and make it stick to the donuts better. And then your glaze is ready. So you just want to put them on your rack to cool for a little bit. The glaze is still nice and warm, so it's going to soak into the donuts really nicely. So you just take one, just dip it in, let the excess drip off, and then just do that with all the donuts. Okay, so final touch. We've just got some blanched almonds that have been roughly chopped up, so they're kind of crunchy still, so you get some nice texture. And you're just going to sprinkle those straight onto the donuts while the glaze is still warm, because then as the glaze cools and sets, the almonds will stick to the donuts nicely. So I've got my banana and honey baked donuts with almond butter glaze.
It's incredible how the humble scone can be the subject of such debate and controversy, but whatever you call them, whatever you top them with and however you eat them, scones are an undeniable fundamental part of our British culture.
Scones may take the name from the Stone of Scone, where it's said that Scottish kings were crowned. Sweet or savoury, scone or scone, these traditional quick breads are dependably delicious in all variations. Scones are the cornerstone of the traditional afternoon tea, a British institution which began in the 19th century. The counties of Devon and Cornwall both claim the cream tea, as scones served with jam and clotted cream, as their own, and argue over the best way to serve it.
So whatever you plan to do with your scones, a good rise is absolutely vital.
A good measure of baking powder is essential to ensure your scones are fluffy and light.
So I'm making fruit scones with a twist. I'm swapping the traditional raisins for cranberries and orange zest. Now the cranberries give a gorgeous fruity tang, while the orange zest, of course, gives a beautiful citrus kick. One thing you don't want to do is overwork the dough. Scones should be light in texture and fluffy, so a gentle touch is an absolute must.
When the dough is formed, gently bring the ingredients together and form into a circle, ready for cutting.
Now there's nothing wrong with the dainty little round scones, that's absolutely fine, but I much prefer big, hearty triangles. So, with a floured knife, cut the dough into about 8 wedges. Just look at these scones. Slightly rustic, but perfectly puffed up. Now, if you're not going to eat them straight away, then cover them with a damp tea towel so they cool, steam, and stay perfectly soft.
These cranberry, orange and white chocolate scones are airy and infused with wonderful flavours. For my twist on the classic afternoon tea, simply serve with marmalade and clotted cream.